Super creepy. The World Ahead 2026 magazine cover published by The Economist shows they expect war, pestilence, and financial collapse next year. Everyone, Johnny here, Don't Speak News. Please don't forget to smash that like button and share this out with everyone that you know, as we need to get the word out here as time is getting very short. But I saw this cover, of course, like everybody else did this past week. The World Ahead 2026, it says, and all kinds of symbology here that needs to be deciphered. And so we'll get into that deciphering today on the end of theamericandream.com. Michael Snyder reporting. So there's one magazine that represents the interest of the global elite more than any other. It's known as The Economist, and each year puts out an issue that is dedicated to what's coming in the year ahead. As we've seen so many times before, these issues tend to be alarmingly accurate. The reason why they're so accurate is because the ultra-wealthy elite have an enormous amount of influence over the course of human events. Indeed, they do. And so, if they are absolutely determined to make something happen, there's a good chance that it's going to happen. Ominously, it appears that they are anticipating a great deal of global chaos in 2026. Yep. Anyone that has any semblance of a brain left understands that as well without even seeing this cover. Things are coming to a head quickly. The Economist has been around since 1843, but it has never had a very large readership among the general population. Ultimately, it is a publication by the elite and for the elite. According to Wikipedia, it has editorial offices all over the planet, but is primarily based in the city of London. I'll let you read about The Economist if you like. Many of the wealthiest families in Europe are among the shareholders of the company. Sir Evelyn Robert Rothschild was actually the chairman from the early 70s to the late 1980s. Aside from the Agnelli family, smaller shareholders in the company include Cadbury, Rothschild, who have 21%, Schroeder, Leighton, and other family interests, as well as a number of staff and former staff shareholders. A board of trustees formally appoints the editor, who cannot be removed without its permission. The Economist Newspaper Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Economist Group. Sir Evelyn Robert de Rothschild was chairman of the company from 72 to 89. So if you want to know what the global elite are thinking, this is the publication you need to be reading. And as for the cover for the World Ahead 2026 issue, is perhaps the most ominous they've ever published. There's another picture of it. When you look at that cover, what stands out to you? Well, like I said, the 250th anniversary of the United States as a nation stood out. The big giant fist stands out, the missiles, tanks, we can see a lot of war here. Swords. It looks like an economic chart that's up and down, crashing. So lots of stuff to look at here. To me, the fact that there are so many symbols relating to war really got my attention. Mine too. There's a huge red tank on the side of the cover and another huge tank on the other side of the cover. Yep. And at the top, there are several large missiles that look like they're ready to be launched. And at the bottom, there are more large missiles, as we can see here. And at the bottom here, along with a hypodermic needle. We'll get into that too. So also right in the middle, we see two enormous swords that are crossed. This is clearly meant to symbolize war. Obviously, they believe that war will continue to be a major theme in 2026, and that is something I've been consistently warning about. And they also seem to think that certain individuals will continue to be major players in world affairs during the coming year. Vladimir Zelensky is clearly visible in the upper right-hand portion of the cover. Yep, I saw him too, right over here. Oops, right there. Vladimir Zelensky is clearly in trouble, or clearly visible. Okay, we covered that. Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, and Benjamin Netanyahu appear to be depicted on the left-hand portion of the cover. We'll take a look at that too. There they are. And so, just like last year, Donald Trump is right in the middle, as we can obviously see right here with the red hat. On Monday, Trump refused to rule out the possibility of sending U.S. troops into Venezuela, ground troops, that is. Asked if he would rule out U.S. troops on the ground in Venezuela, Trump replied, "No, I don't rule out that. I don't rule out anything. We just have to take care of Venezuela," he added. they dumped hundreds of thousands of people into our country from prisons. Personally, I think that this is a trap. If we go to war with Venezuela, a large portion of our military forces will be tied up, and our relations with the rest of the world will greatly suffer. But Trump doesn't care. And Trump is also suggesting that military strikes in Mexico and Colombia could be coming. We talked about this last week. President Trump hinted at being open to sending military strikes to Mexico and Colombia in order to stop drugs on Monday, sending chills across the region. And so he was quoted as saying, "Would I launch strikes on Mexico to stop drugs? It's okay with me. Whatever we have to do to stop drugs," which the U.S. government gets all of their secret covert operations money through drug and money laundering. So this is all, it's just about power and resources and consolidating that power in the Western Hemisphere because Russia and China are challenging the U.S. and the West in their own backyard now. But anyway, it's all part of the plan, guys. Everything's unfolding according to God's plan. They think it's their plan, but it's not. They're playing right into God's hands, right into prophecy. But anyway, on the other side of the globe, I expect the conflict between Israel and Iran to erupt again. In fact, I'm surprised it hasn't already. I expect the war in Ukraine to continue to escalate, and I'll be watching China very closely. I agree. Ukraine's going to lose everything at the end of the day. Russia, at the end of the day, isn't going to be able to stop because they won't get the security guarantees that they've been asking for the last however many years, especially since 2014. But anyway, getting back to the magazine cover, I also noticed a chart that seems to depict some sort of financial crash right under the crossed swords, which we looked at already right here. And not too far below that chart, there's a red image of a broken dollar sign right here. Sign of the dollar crashing. We'll see. In addition, throughout the bottom half of the graphic, it looks like paper currency is falling everywhere. Yeah, let's take a look at that. See all that currency fluttering down? There's some leaves here too, but a lot of these are bills of some sort. Could be the US, could be the euro, who knows? Probably the US. So obviously they're trying to communicate something about the global economy, and it certainly isn't good. Will 2026 be a year of financial collapse? We won't have to wait too long to find out. No, we won't. I also noticed two gigantic syringes near the bottom of the cover, which we already kind of looked at right here, along with some missiles. And throughout the cover, there are lots of pills floating around. I started to count them, but there's just too many. Let's take a look at what he's talking about there. There's some pills, there's some pills, there's some pills. Pills over here. Yeah, they're everywhere. So what does this all mean? Are they suggesting another global pandemic's on the way? Possibly. Will 2026 be a year when people are taking shots and pills to try and protect themselves from a major pestilence that breaks out? Once again, anything's possible. Interestingly, an outbreak of Marburg virus has just been confirmed in Ethiopia. The Marburg virus is one of the deadliest known pathogens. Like Ebola, it causes severe bleeding, fever, vomiting, and diarrhea, and has a 21-day incubation period. And like Ebola, it's transmitted via contact with bodily fluids and has a fatality rate of between 25 and 80%. Yeah, it's not good. So personally, I'm convinced that the pestilence will be a major theme in 2026. We'll see. Like I said, I'm keeping my mind open and my eyes open and ears open as well. So I hope all of you have been getting ready for that. Lastly, I wanted to mention the giant raised fist at the top of the cover, which I pointed out in the beginning. And so a raised fist has been the primary symbol of resistance to the Trump administration. And I don't think that it's an accident that the giant raised fist is placed right on top of the American flag in this graphic. Are the global elite planning civil unrest in major U.S. cities in 2026? I would say so. It's already been happening. We know they've been lavishly funding far-left protest groups in this country. Will 2026 be a year when the mass protests against Trump go to the next level? The author thinks that is their plan. Like I said, I'm keeping my mind open. I think that they fully intend to unleash chaos, and that fits perfectly with what I'm expecting too. Unfortunately for the elite, I do not believe that they will be able to control the chaos that's coming. We really are right on the brink of a global nightmare. And once it starts, nobody's going to be able to wake up from it. Nope, not until Jesus Christ returns. Wow. So much going on, guys. I'm keeping my eyes on it as much as I can, but it's really tough when you're a one-man operation. So that'll be it for now. I'm sure there'll be more later, God willing. God bless, take care. Johnny Storm, Don't Speak News.